Why do Aussies love the Ford Falcon so much? Well, hopefully we'll find out in this video. And if you enjoy it, hit the like button and subscribe.
Scooch on over, lasses and lads. It's time to talk some classic Australian motoring. I get all doughy about Australian car history because when you look at it, there aren't many Australians. I mean, there are less of us than Californians. That's just one US state. Yet we had our own industry pumping out cars that no one else had, all made just for us.
When I look at the Ford Falcon, I'm trying to work out what it's meant to be similar to, if it's meant to be similar to anything. I don't think it's similar to the Focus. I don't think it's similar to the Fiesta. I think it's quite similar to the Ford Mondeo. And I don't know if you get Ford Mondeos in Australia, but that is what it quite often reminds me of, especially the newer shaped ones, the more rounded, curved ones, rather than these boxy ones. But definitely the Ford Mondeo.
I mean, it's all gone now, it's dead. Holden is a brand that a lot of people think about in terms of Aussie, and like the car it's most famous for, the Commodore, well, it was always just a reworked GM thing.
I love that in other countries, that is a Vauxhall, the Opel. Whenever you go to Europe and you see Opels, you know it is a Vauxhall.
I mean, they had Australian engines in them until the VL Commodore, and then stopped making the iconic 5-litre V8 and the VT Series 2. Ironically, the Ford Falcon was the more Aussie car. I mean, the American badge really overshadowed that. Ford Australia was its own beast. Now, the VT Commodore I quickly mentioned is actually right where this story lies. That guy landed in 1997, and back in the day, it looked amazing. Blew me away as a kid. Actual amazing interior. I think it still looks great today. And, we didn't know that it was just a 1994 Opel Omega with a front-wheel drive Buick V6 smashed into it.
Isn't it funny how over time the styles of cars change? There's that period where it was very rough, sharp edges, very boxy. Then it became the sort of like the Vauxhall there, Opel, the smoother, longer style cars. I think now is a bit of a mix with the electrics coming in. You're getting a mix of the longer cars because it's better for aerodynamics, I think. But there's some more interesting styles coming out, mixing the edgy, the sharp edges with the rounded bodies, which is nice to see.
So Ford Australia at this time was under pressure to just use a world car like the Taurus or the Scorpio, but Ford Oz argued that our roads were way different. Aussies like to tow big heavy things long distances, and we wanted utes and V8s. So development for this insanely Aussie car kicked off in 1994. It was released in 98, a year after the VT, costing $700 million, utilizing Ford's new edge design first seen in the GT.
I had a Ford Focus. I did. Wasn't very good.
90, the first gen Focus, of which I actually like, and the Ka.
KAs are like the new driver car. My first car was a Rover 214. I love that car. I was warned that the head gasket would go, and 3 years later it did. Plumes of smoke. But yeah, I also had to drill a hole in the bonnet. Oh, why have I forgotten the words? In the back to drill a hole to get the water out. Why can't I? Mind has gone. Anyway, Ford Falcon, let's carry on.
The AU Ford Falcon. Now I know what you're thinking, which is you hate it. And you would join with most Australians who feel this way too. People weren't fans. My dad back in the day always called it the car with the sad ass. It really looks like a pasty. Mate, the lowest...
Pasty. And also, I think it actually looks a little bit like looks like the Rover... which Rover is it? The Rover 15? No, it's the posher Rover. I can't think what it's called now. But it looks a little bit like that. Just do some Googling for me.
trim level, the Forte, oh, that waterfall grille, oh, those hubcaps. The XR6 and the XR8 models look way better. Like, it almost looks like that's kind of how it was meant to look. But forget the looks, it gets worse. Remember how nice the VT Commodore interior was? To me, that is a pretty important place to get right, because it's actually where the living human being who paid for the car will actually get to feel and experience the dang machine. Well, Ford wanted to undercut the Como in price and felt that nice interiors just weren't required. We got this. Odd matching grey plastics, strange ovals everywhere. I just hate that steering wheel.
But that is Ford all over. We are literally, as of today, getting our new car, and Charlie has a Ford Fiesta. That is what Fords look like. Even now, that is what they look like. The sort of the bubble plastic. Just nasty, cheap, horrible Fords are. I wouldn't ever get a Ford ever again, because they are horrible looking cars, and I don't think they drive very well either.
The first gen Focus got this style of interior way better, like, you know, all the crazy lines and triangles of things. And like Jeff, the V8 is like the model before the AU, and I swear the interior actually looks better. What a step backwards. And mate, if you were a Sirius.com boomer, you had the mobile office pack in your AU Falcon. So like, getting back to the outside, why did it look like this? One word. Aerodynamics. Us Aussies have V8 supercars where the two brands used to fight it out, and Ford knew that wins on Sunday meant sales on Monday. They wanted to make a winner. It was a race car from the beginning. But a benefit to consumers was it kept fuel costs down, and man, were they quiet. An old mate of mine used to own one. Good old Pasty would just cut through the air like nothing. And yet, it was a horrible race car. Horrible. Winning only 8 races out of 52 in a 2-make race series. That's awful. Ironically, with aerodynamics being one of the issues, apparently lacking consistency over an entire race. And if you want to talk uggo, suss the wagon version. That rear window always bothered me. All this awful interior and outside fugliness is such a shame, as underneath it was an awesome car. A double wishbone independent rear suspension, built like an absolute tank, and the legendary Barra 6's dad. The 4-litre Intec Straight 6, and they are awesome motors. I mean it. Like, the legendary Barra just improved on this guy, and I can say with pride that you bet I had an AU. Mate, she was a Series 3 wagon. They are uggo, but that ugly rear window is because the roof has been raised higher to fit more junk into it, and when you're a gigging drummer, that's all you care about. And hey, thankfully there is a happy ending. I mean, not for the AU. People hated on it until it died of depression in 2002 and everyone just danced on its grave. The happy ending is that Ford took all the good stuff of the AU and wrapped it in beautiful skin called the BA Falcon, which also birthed an iconic Aussie engine, the Barra. And mate, if we took looks out of the equation and I either had to daily a VT Commodore Executive or an AU Forte, I would take the AU. Drive on, you ugly pasty.
Well, I don't think I would take either, but maybe back in the day, I would have chosen one of them. I've had some cars, Rover 214, Ford Focus. I've had a VW Passat, which was an amazing car, but had cream interiors with fake wood accents. Charlie hated that car. I've had some. Now on to just fans, basically. They were clearly grim cars. And I just don't think Ford are very good. They're cheap. You know, the interiors are cheap. I don't think the drive is that good. And I think that is what you get. You get a Ford because you know that the repair costs will be cheap. Because they are cheap to repair. They are cheap and nasty in general. Not nice cars at all. I don't know why anyone would want one. I really don't. But each to their own. It is funny to look at cars and how they have progressed over time and adapted. It's awesome to see. But I would not like to have a Ford Falcon. Thank you so much for watching. That might have upset some people, I don't know. But yeah, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.